Hey guys, it's Shivani, and today I'm going to be telling you about how I became an ALT in Japan and just giving you a general overview on what it takes to get here, the kind of qualifications you need, and just how to get here if you want to get here. So let's get into it. So I have been into Japan and Japanese culture since I was a kid, and I kind of always knew that I wanted to come here. And as I got older, it became more of, rather than just see the place, I do want to try living here. And I did start learning Japanese a few years ago, but I wasn't really consistent. So my Japanese is at a very basic level. With that in mind, I wanted to look for jobs that didn't require a high level of Japanese here in Japan, which is obviously not an easy feat because Japanese is the main language of the country. They don't use English that much. And another thing was that I did not have a background in IT or in STEM, and that kind of narrowed my options even further. But that was also when I found out about teaching English in Japan. So, English for me was basically my first language, and I'd always had a pretty good command over it. And the idea of teaching really appealed to me. Note that I say the idea of teaching, but because of these reasons, and obviously because I wanted to go to Japan, this idea really appealed to me. So, I started doing some more in depth research. So, if you follow the English teaching route, there are basically two ways that you can get into Japan. One of them is ALT, and the other is Eikaiwas. Now, because I don't work at an Eikaiwa, I will be talking about that so that I can cover it pretty quickly. But an Eikaiwa is basically an English conversation school. Eikaiwa, the word A is ego, and ego means English. Kaiwa means conversation, so literally English conversation. So these are usually after school programs, or English classes, if you will, where they have students from all age ranges, all backgrounds. You have kids as early as like toddlers, you have housewives, you have school kids, you have elderly people, all who just want to learn English. In an Eikaiwa, you generally are the main teacher in the classroom. So you get set up with the Eikaiwa company, and they usually have like lesson plans and stuff, but those are just like frameworks, and then you can like build a lesson on your own. Usually you are the only teacher in the classroom, whereas with the ALT job, it's a little different. ALT, as I mentioned in my previous video, stands for Assistant Language Teacher. They are teachers in the Japanese public school system. Um, Japan has public schools and private schools like any other country. In India, you'd call them government schools. There are two ways to be an ALT. Either you go through a dispatch company or you become a direct hire ALT. I will not be talking much about direct hire ALTs because there are a lot of videos on them already. And because I am not a direct hire ALT, I don't know that much about the topic. But just to give you a brief overview, direct hire ALTs are hired directly by the BOE of each prefecture. BOE stands for Board of Education, and Japan has 47 prefectures, so every prefecture, I think, has a Board of Education that recruits teachers, and then sends them to different schools. As a direct hire ALT, you are a proper staff member of that school, whereas with um, dispatch companies, dispatch companies are kind of like a middleman between the school and you. So you are technically an employee of the dispatch company and not of the school. Okay, I got tired of holding my phone, so you're gonna see me like this now. So dispatch companies are usually private companies that recruit ALTs from abroad and help bring them to Japan. I say usually private companies because there is also a government program that hires ALTs, and I'll get to that in a bit. But so what the dispatch company does is they hire you from abroad. They help like with your paperwork, your visa, your certificate of eligibility, and they basically like help you come to Japan. And it is one of the easier ways. Like it's definitely easier to initially be a dispatch ALT versus a direct hire ALT. The schools that you will be teaching at, the public schools, the age range over there is usually from elementary school to high school. So elementary school is usually from the ages of 6 to 12. Then you have junior high school, which is 13 to 15, and then you have high school, which is 16 to 18. Okay, so that is enough of an overview on this whole thing. Now we are going to jump into what you need to apply for an ALT position. And the first thing that you need is to have a college degree. And how many ever Reddit posts you see or blogs you see where people say that, I didn't have a degree and I got into Japan somehow? Please don't follow them. They must have had some really, really weird situations, because you do need a college degree to enter Japan and to get a certificate of eligibility. So secondly, you need to be a native English speaker or a native level English speaker. Now, the thing over here is that a lot of dispatch companies only hire native English speakers, which we as South Asians are not regarded as. But there are companies that hire native level English speakers, which we can be counted as, because a lot of us study English our entire lives. So you need to be one of these two things. You need to find a company that recruits native level English speakers. So, gambate. These are the two basic things that you need. There are also good add-ons that will help boost your resume and help you get hired. One of the good add-ons is having a driver's license. Now, me personally, I have a driver's license, but I mentioned in my application form that I don't drive. But what having a driver's license does for you is it opens up more areas in which you can be placed, thus effectively, increasing your chances of being hired. A lot of these positions are in the countryside where the public transportation is not very dependable or not very frequent. And in that case, they will require you to drive around. For Indians, it would actually be pretty easy because Japan drives on the same side of the road. So I don't think it's that much of an issue. Another good add-on, and some people had asked about this, was to have teaching qualifications or experience. And there are courses for this like CELTA, TEFL, and many others. But I would personally say, from what I have seen and heard, is that this is not necessarily always a good add-on. It depends on the company and it depends on the interviewer. So why having an English teaching qualification can be a double-edged sword is because yes, sometimes it can help you in the classroom because you have experience and you know what you're doing, but a lot of times the teachers forget that this is an assistant teacher's job. you know so it's usually you are the second teacher in the classroom. There is going to be a Japanese teacher of English or JTE in the classroom, and some people get the impression that if you've done all these courses and you have all this experience, you might try to run the show and not be adaptable and just be generally displeased with being in the second teacher position. And that is why they don't necessarily like if you have this qualification. Another super, super good add on, and I personally don't consider this an add on, I consider it a necessity. But please have a basic, very basic knowledge at least of Japanese before you come here. I cannot explain to you how much it helps. And on your job requirements, it's not a compulsion to know Japanese, because at the end of the day, it's an English teaching job and they don't need you speaking Japanese in the classroom. But your job is not going to be your life. You are going to have a life outside of work. And knowing just a little bit of Japanese and having the attitude of wanting to learn more Japanese and mix with the culture is going to help you in so many ways that you cannot even imagine. Because let me tell you that Japanese people are a very monolithic group, and it can be, you can find expat friends, foreigner friends here, but it will be hard to make Japanese friends. And it can get very isolating because Japan, firstly, as a country, is very different from India. There's going to be a lot of culture shocks. You are going to be alone at a lot of times, and just having the ability to communicate with other people is going to help you so much. So please, if you're into this or if you want to come to Japan, start learning Japanese right now. It's never too late. Even if you learn like N5 level of Japanese, it's super great. You don't even have to necessarily give the exam, but just have a working knowledge of that basic level. Like, I'll give you an example. When I on my first day of school, I had to do an introduction speech, and I could have very well done it in English, but I did it in Japanese, and my Japanese wasn't like perfect, but they appreciated the fact that I tried, you know. And that is what I've seen with a lot of people in this country, is that they will appreciate when you make the effort. So try to look like you care, and you want to be a part of the culture. On top of all these things, having the right temperament is extremely important. I would advise you to be adaptable, to be flexible. There are going to be a lot of surprises that you haven't prepared for. Having an open mind and a resilient attitude is going to take you a long way. Another thing in terms of temperament is, it would be great if you like kids, if you enjoy being around kids. You don't have to, constantly be like, oh, so cute and all. You don't have to be like that. But just generally liking kids. If you don't like kids, you can't really do this job, because they can be a handful. It's not always going to be sunny. And you just have to smile through it, keep going through it. So that is very important to have in terms of personality. Talking about programs, like I said, dispatch companies are usually private companies. There is one government program called the JET program, and I'm sure many of you must have heard of it. But unfortunately, the JET program since the past few years has not been hiring ALTs from India. Some of the private companies are Interac, Borderlink, Altia. These are all ALT companies. There's Eon, which is an Eikaiwa. There's Peppy Kids Club, which is an Eikaiwa. There's ECC, but I don't think they hire Indians. But I mean South Asian, sorry. But yeah, apply to as many companies as you can, see which ones get back. I would like to give a little piece of advice over here. Be very clear about what you expect from coming here, what you want your life to be, because the sad thing is that a lot of people come here expecting it to be completely perfect and this beautiful utopia and everything you see online. But that's not the case. Every country has its problems, every job has its problems, and an ALT job definitely has its fair share of problems. But again, it depends on how you take it, what your attitude is towards it. I will talk more about expectations versus reality in another video, because this video is already really long. But yes, all the best. If you want to apply, please start applying now. I personally applied in, I think, July or August last year, and then I came here in March. So yeah, you can start applying now. Please do your own research. Oh yeah, another thing about research is that a lot of you will happen across Reddit, where you will find comments by people who are like bashing the ALT job and talking shit about it. And the only thing I'd like to say is, take everything that you hear and see on Reddit with a pinch of salt. It is a pretty toxic place, and some of the reviews are correct. Some people do have bad experiences being ALTs, but remember that usually the people who leave comments are only people who've had bad experiences. People who have good experiences don't necessarily talk about it that much, so that kind of gets hidden away. Okay, so this is the treasure trove of information that I leave you with today. You're very welcome. Sorry that video went on for really long. But yeah, please let me know in the comments if you have any unanswered questions, and I can hopefully address them in other videos. And I look forward to making more videos, but I am slow, so it is going to take a while. So please bear with me. Thank you for watching this video. Bye-bye. If you found this helpful and you would like for this video to reach other people in South Asia and wherever else, and anyone you think needs help with this whole thing, please like, share, and subscribe. It will really help me out. And I really hate saying please like, share, and subscribe, so I'm just using all of my energy and not cringing at it. So yeah, please do. Thank you. Bye.